In this morning's live stream, I got a request to go into more detail about the position that I took short. So that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to do a review of my trade this morning. So let's get right into it. Alright, so the way that I was going to do this is I was going to do it, I was going to do it live with, replaying the trade and kind of commenting on what I was thinking about and all that stuff. But because it was still processing on YouTube and I didn't record it directly to my computer at the same time as I was streaming, just to, save on resources, it looks blurry and stuff like this. So I'm just I'm gonna have to do it another way. So, I was going to play this so you can see it right here. Actually, this is kind of a little too blurry. So let me go ahead and close that or minimize this. I don't need this. I'm going to go to Notion to show you the position. This is in the journal. I still need to put all the details there. So what you can see during the live stream was this window over here on the left. So this is in my evaluation account, and over here is on the performance account. I took the trade in both accounts pretty much at the same price. So I'm only showing this so you can clearly see the price that I traded this short that I got in. I entered the trade at 8.80 3/4. Over here in the performance account, slightly different price, 880.25 or 880 1/4. And I basically took it the exact same way. Now I did get triggered into this position in the performance account before I got triggered in the evaluation account. It triggered me in, dipped a little bit, and then it went higher. Then that's when I got triggered into the evaluation account. All right, so let me go ahead and minimize this, and we're gonna use Sierra chart, the replay mode, to actually go over like my mindset and what I'm looking at, and just kind of walk us through my whole process of taking this trade. All right, and I'm gonna get a sip of water. Now the way I want to do this is I don't want to have to do a lot of edits, so any little, just keep that in mind. All right, if you like perfection, this is probably not what you're gonna get here. All right, so let me pull up my notepad. Okay, so every morning, when I'm trading, the things that I'm looking for before we even get to my trading window, which is 9:30 to 10:30, I'm looking at the pre-market structure, all right, of the overnight structure. So you can see in this structure, we was pretty much trading sideways, had a little bit of a dip, and then we had some bulls to come in before we had this 8:30 sell-off, which they used to. In hindsight, we know that this was just pretty much a temporary momentum that we got. Basically, they used the core CPI economic event as a reason to do whatever they did this for, right? So they significantly dropped the price within this 3-minute period, this 3-minute time frame. For whatever reason they have, that's not our concern. That we just know that this happened at the same time as an economic event. So I don't really have any biases towards this, but I am going to use this momentum for this trade that I took, right? So understanding this right here, and in terms of market sentiment, that's another thing that I'm looking at, is I'm understanding that with this sell-off, this strong sell-off, other traders are going to see this as momentum, and they're going to be looking to jump in short here, at least within this range. All right, so as long as we stay below 50% of this, there's a good chance that we saw right here, we had it retraced 50% roughly. Of course, it's not an exact science, but it did retrace about 50%, and then we had some more sellers come in before our 0930 open. And so we still got this range. This range is still active to have more sellers in here. And in hindsight, we did see sellers all throughout as we took price higher into all-time highs. All right, so all right, so I'm just gonna focus on the trade. So once we open up, I'm already mentioned that I already looked at structure and market sentiment. I'm also looking at the power range to give me the determination of which direction I want to take a trade. That's, you know, that's just based on how I got my strategy set up. So being that the price is positioned and structure is positioned the way that it is below the power range, I'm looking for a short, right? I'm looking for a short. Really, within this whole candle, there's enough reasons to take shorts here, right? Now, for us to continue selling off, I really don't want us to break this pivot that we got in the right before the open in the pre-market, right? But if we do break it, that doesn't mean that we, you know, shorts are all out. It just means that I'm not looking for any big move bearish. I'm not looking for a lot of sell-off if we, you know, if price does trade higher than this and close above this pivot. All right, so once we open up, looking at the trade, me looking for a trade, I'm looking at that, and I'm also looking for my balance levels, right? So I have my first 3-minute period where I'm usually not looking to take a trade. The one exception is these balance levels, because just me studying them, how much I've studied them, you usually do get, some good reaction at these balance levels. So out the gate, just looking at this, I won't pull back. I always won't pull back. So I'm going to place an order up here near this balance level. Just that's my one exception to my no trade 3-minute rule. My rule to not trade in that first 3 minutes of the 9:30 open for the New York Stock Exchange. My one exception to that rule is to take a trade off these balance levels, or if it's a key balance level. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the balance levels in this video. If you want me to go into detail about the balance levels, just go ahead and leave that in the description below, and I can do that at a later time. All right, so I did place an order at this balance level in both accounts, as we can see early in the screenshot. And what I'm using to make my determination on where exactly I want to place my order, I'm using a level, and I'm also using a volume profile. So the volume profile also gives us, and I didn't put that in there. Let me go ahead and put that in there. So what we got, market sentiment, balance levels, is kind of in the order that which I look at it, which you can kind of flip-flop structure and power range, but also the volume profile. Okay. All right. So I'm using my volume profile as a, kind of a tool to kind of fine tune where I want to get into a trade. Now, understanding that looking at these levels, other people are also looking at these levels just purely from a structural standpoint. So, and also the balance level. So I don't want to put it like we can expect some sellers to be in this range up here. Let me go ahead and mark that off. You can definitely expect some sellers to be in this range. I don't want to be at the top of this range, because anybody who bought down there, we can see we do have buyers there. They're not going to let price go all the way up before they start to take profit. They're going to start taking profit before we get to the top, to the peak of this, the volume that we see from this volume profile, right? So I'm placed my order where I get the most volume, and right here you can see we got it at where did I do it? It was 880. So I just it's not an exact science. I just, as long as I'm somewhere in this range but not at the top of the range. So I just put it right in here. Just use the volume profile to place my order, right? And I'm gonna do it here. I'm not gonna let it play all the way out. I'm just gonna do it just to illustrate what I'm looking at after I set this up. All right, so now I know where I'm trying to get in. And the way that I'm looking at this is I'm looking at this as a position as a whole, right? So if I'm trying to take this short, what's gonna keep us short? So I'm looking at all of this structure, all of this in here, to let me know, all right, if I take this short, where do I know for sure that I'm wrong? And looking at this structure and our swings and all of that stuff, I'm placing my stop loss up here, because if we trade up here, there's a good chance that I'm wrong on this, on being short, because I don't need to. This is only one lot that I'm trying to get in, so I don't need to necessarily be exact on where, I don't need to be exact with how I get into the trade with this first entry, because this is not my full position size. This is only one lot out of 3 or 4, right? 4 is my max, and you know what my ideal, you know, way to load into a trade is to be in 3 lots. All right, so I'm not going to go into detail about all of that. I'm just, you know, illustrating how I'm going to set this up. All right, so I'm looking at this as my stop. If I want to be extra careful, I can set it above, you know, that balance level, or I can be more aggressive with the stop loss and set it right there above the structure. Okay, and then I'm also looking to use my levels here as kind of locations to pretty much sharpshoot where I'm going to place my other lots to load into the trade or to scale into the position, right? So really that's all it was. And then looking for a target. I also know that these, like I said before, these balance levels usually gets, you know, really good response. We also have, you know, we can look at the volume profile, we can look at the structure, all of that stuff. But honestly, I'm really just looking at the balance levels for my other targets. So I got, just by default, my targets are set pretty wide, as well as, you know, the stop loss and all of that. But I made the adjustment here to be a little more aggressive with my first target. Or what, the first target is right here. That first target is always, I never adjust the first target. That stays the same, but for the next target, you know, I'm looking to get a little bit more, so I use my levels, my power range levels. Also, I know I want to get out of this, but well, I want to make sure that second target is, you know, is before this balance level, because there's a really good chance that if I do get triggered into this, it's highly unlikely that we will continue to sell off, and you know, there will be a response. If it trades back down to this balance level, there's a good chance, there's a high probability that we will see a response there, which could take us higher and then stop me out and all that stuff. So that's what I'm looking at. Then this third final, oh, that was the final one. Oh yeah, I forgot, because this is based off of my double team strategy, which I'm using currently in the performance account. But with the evaluation account, the one that you can see in the live stream recording from this morning, there's a third contract, and then my third contract, I just moved it within this range that was created in the pre-market. All right, so it's really that simple. Of course, you know, it worked out beautifully. I hit my first target, of course, and then I hit the second target before I got trailed out for a loss. I mean, not for a loss, but for a break even on the last contract that I had in this position. I was in it with 3 micro contracts, and that's really all to it. I mean, I had no idea, of course, what price was going to do once it got there. This was just an instance of me having a strategy, having a plan, and then following the strategy and the plan, and it worked out. Now, there's definitely times where it's not going to work out that way, but that's why we also have risk management, you know, embedded, or, you know, inside of our plan as a whole. All right, so really, that's really all it is. If you want to see how it, you know, played out, just go, if you didn't see it this morning, just go and watch the live stream. Some really good commentary from, you know, my partner, and I think this morning was a good educational sequence of events that we got in terms of, you know, how they move price and the kind of the game that those that move the markets play. All right, so that's going to wrap this one up. Let me go ahead and check I pretty much covered everything. Oh, there's one more thing that I kind of look at, which is why I didn't even think about it. I didn't really use it this morning because I always forget to look at it, which is the delta. So the delta, what I'm using this delta board for, is kind of giving me kind of an inside scoop of, you know, participation that we have in the market. And it looks like we got some sellers in this market at this point. This is still okay. Very interesting right here. A lot of selling going on, but the price action is not showing us that same thing. All right, so yeah, so sometimes I do look at the delta board, but most of the time I forget, and I didn't look at the delta board at all for this trade, really. So it was really, I mean, that's really all. I just wanted to kind of go over that, but I kind of use this delta board as a way to determine as of right now. I'm really just observing it and just, you know, just letting it all soak in. But I kind of use it as a way to, when I do use it, I use it as a way to determine how aggressive I'm going to be on, you know, a position that I take or whatever. But that's nothing that's solid in my plan or in my strategy right now. It's just something I'm really observing, like I said before. So with all that said, I did cover everything that I wanted to cover in this review. If you have any questions beyond what I explained here, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. And, you know, hope you have a good rest of the day. Trade it easy.